very good morning to all of you who have joined the poster presentation track of the International Research Symposium on Entrepreneurship 2021. I warmly welcome all academics and students who are joining with us on this special occasion. The poster presentation track has been dedicated to the current final year undergraduates of the Department of Entrepreneurship who have completed their literature survey and are in the process of developing their research instruments. Before beginning the poster presentation, I would like to introduce the session chairs of the first half. As the session chairs of the first half, we have Professor Ustige Nishanta, Senior Lecturer of the Department of Management and Organizational Studies of the Faculty of Management and Finance of the University of Telangana. We have again Dr. Ambalan Pushpanathan, Senior Lecturer, Department of Economics and Management, Faculty of Business Studies, Bhavnia Campus, University of Jaffna. We once again have Dr. Nalaka Vikram Simha, Senior Lecturer, Department of Commerce and Finance Management of the Faculty of Commerce and Management Studies, University of Kerala. We also have Dr. Chandima Karunaratne, Senior Lecturer, Department of Industrial Management, Faculty of Applied Sciences, Vayamba University of Sri Lanka. Session chairs, sir, we cordially welcome you to the track presentation. To begin with the poster presentation, before beginning with the poster presentation, sir, madam, your valuable advice is expected for this final year undergraduates to produce a quality research. Professor Ustige Nishanta sir, we cordially expect an overall comment from you for all presentations as the leading session chair. To begin with the presentations, I would now like to invite our first presenter, D.C. Pereira, to start her presentation on factors affecting entrepreneurial intention among undergraduates of University of Sri Jayawardhanapura, Sri Lanka.
A very good morning, dear lecturers and my dear friends. I am Demi Pereira, a final year student of the Department of Entrepreneurship of the Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce of the University of Sri Jayawardhanapura, Sri Lanka. So today, I will be walking you through the research that I am intending to conduct, its background and its methodology, and how it will happen, and what findings I will be expecting to come out with. So, my research is titled as The Factors Affecting Entrepreneurial Intention Among Undergraduates of University of Sri Jayawardhanapura, Sri Lanka. And I will be supervised by Mr. Shyama Nudhyanga, who happens to be the head of the Department of Entrepreneurship and a senior lecturer of the same department under the Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce of University of Sri Jayawardhanapura. So according to my research topic, my research problem happens to be what factors affect entrepreneurial intention among undergraduates of University of Sri Jayawardhanapura, Sri Lanka. Thereafter, moving on to my research objectives, they have been broken down into the main objective and the specific objectives. So my main objective would be to identify the factors affecting entrepreneurial intention among final year undergraduates of University of Sri Jayewardenepura. Accordingly, the specific objectives would be identify whether there is a relationship between the four independent variables I have chosen for my study with that of entrepreneurial intention, of course, of the undergraduates I have selected from the University of Sri Jayewardenepura. So that will be to identify the relationship between attitude towards behavior and entrepreneurial intention, to identify the relationship between subjective norms and entrepreneurial intention, to identify the relationship between perceived feasibility and entrepreneurial intention, and to identify the relationship between entrepreneurial alertness and entrepreneurial intention. Moving ahead, I would like to walk you through the conceptual framework of my research from this point onwards. So, in my framework, I have used four independent variables to to see whether there is a relationship between those four independent variables with entrepreneurial intention among undergraduates of University of Sri Jayewardenepura. So entrepreneurial intention happens to be the dependent variable of my research study. And the four independent variables, I must say, first of all, that three of them, that happens to be the attitude towards behavior, subjective norms, and perceived feasibility. Those three independent variables, I have taken them as a combination between the famous entrepreneurial event models or theories known as the theory of planned behavior, developed by the scholar Hudson in 1991, and the entrepreneurial event model, developed by scholars Shapiro and Sokol in 1982. Actually, I got the inspiration to combine the variables from both of these models based on Kruger and Brazel's model introduced in 1994 as the entrepreneurial potential model. Now, in that, both scholars Krug and Brazel have done a deep study about it's a comparison study that they have conducted between the theory of planned behavior and the entrepreneurial event model for the purpose of identifying if there are any similarities between the research variables they have used in those two models, and they have realized that there are common variables that could replace one another between the two models. So therefore, I have taken attitude towards behavior and subjective norms from Hudson's theory of planned behavior and perceived feasibility from the entrepreneurial event model. And finally, I have added an additional variable named as the entrepreneurial alertness as well. So the relationship that each and every independent variable rather, that holds with the dependent variable entrepreneurial intention is to be researched under my research. Thereafter, I would like to walk you through the hypothesis. So there are four hypotheses here. First is to identify that there is a relationship. The first hypothesis is that there is a relationship between attitude towards behavior and entrepreneurial intention among final year undergraduates of our University of Sri Jayewardenepura. Then the second hypothesis is that there is a relationship between subjective norms and entrepreneurial intention among the same undergraduates. Third hypothesis is that there is a relationship between perceived feasibility and entrepreneurial intention among the same set of undergraduates. And finally, the fourth hypothesis is that there is a relationship between entrepreneurial alertness and entrepreneurial intention among the same set of undergraduates of University of Sri Jayewardenepura. Thereafter, moving on to the proposed methodology of my research, my population happens to be the final year undergraduates of four faculties of the University of Sri Jayewardenepura. Those four faculties are Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce, Faculty of Applied Sciences, Faculty of Medical Sciences, and Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences. So according to the information I got from the Senior Assistant Registrar of the University, the total number of students of those four faculties who are studying in their final year in the year 2021 happens to be 2,756 in total. So to get a sample out of this population, I will be using the convenience sampling technique the reason behind why I'm choosing it is because of the prevailing situation of the country, and not going ahead with more complex sampling techniques wouldn't be advisable at this situation. So the sample that I'm looking at, according to my population, would amount to 338 in number. That is actually calculated through an online sampling calculator under a 5% confidence interval. Thereafter, for the data collection purpose, an online questionnaire or survey will be distributed after a pilot study being conducted. And then, for the data analysis and presentation purpose, correlation and regression analysis will be performed using the Statistical Package for Social Sciences, version 26. And then finally, at the end of my research, there are certain expected findings. So those happen to be that there is a positive relationship between attitude towards behavior and entrepreneurial intention, positive relationship between subjective norms and entrepreneurial intention, a positive relationship between perceived feasibility and entrepreneurial intention, and finally that there is a positive relationship between entrepreneurial alertness and entrepreneurial intention among the final year undergraduates of University of Sri Jayawardhanapura. So that is the overall idea and view and the methodology behind the research study I'm intending to conduct. So I would like to thank my supervisor, Mr. Shaman Udyanga, for constantly supporting me and guiding me to come up this far in my research study and to get everything clarified and sorted out. So thank you for the rest of the audience for listening to me. Have a good day.
This is Professor Sunetra Pereira, and good morning to you. And sorry for the delay in coming to the presentation because can I speak?
Yes, madam, go ahead.
Can I speak?
Yes, madam, go ahead. Yes, madam, you can go ahead.
Can I speak?
Yes, madam, you can go ahead. Can you hear me?
Miss Pubuduni, is Miss Pubuduni there?
Yes, madam. Can you hear me?
Is Miss Pubuduni there?
Madam, I think there's a technical error, so I think we could proceed.
So you can't hear me, no?
We can hear you, madam.
Okay. And
we can hear your voice, madam. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Is that Mr. Dr. Pushpanathan? Oh, hi, how are you? And so this is Professor Sunetra Pereira from University of Ruhuna. And sorry for delaying my presence with your presentation. And because I had a Senate meanwhile, and I excused for the Senate and came to this meeting. So that is very nice presentation. I only heard to the latter part of your presentation. I don't remember the student name. And so I have two questions from the student. And so can you tell me the originality of your work?
So, madam, the thing is now, this is actually, I was looking into the theory of planned behavior and entrepreneurial event model mainly, but so I sort of brought them together to bring out the innovation in my research by combining the two models, as I explained. So the attitude towards behavior and subjective norms variables I have taken from the theory of planned behavior, and perceived feasibility is the third variable I have taken from the entrepreneurial event model.
Okay.
So yes, that is, madam, actually after going through Kruger's model, the entrepreneurial potential model, which was introduced, that is actually a combination between these two. After identifying the similarities the variables have, so that's where the originality lies, I suppose. From what I'm
Uh,
trying to introduce.
are you testing the theory, or are you going to introduce a new theory, or are you testing the theory?
So I'm testing the combination, madam, because the
Are you
theory is
testing the
separate.
combination through theory?
Yes.
Is it theory testing
Yes.
dissertation or the research work?
Yes, madam.
Okay, and then tell me why you use correlation and regression for your study.
Because mainly my objective is to see, to test the relationship between the variables that I've chosen, whether there's a positive relationship, if so, to what extent it holds, how significant it is, and so on. So I suppose regression and correlation would be the best option to go with.
And so how you justify your sample?
So, madam,
You said that you are getting 4 faculties,
yes.
and yeah, how you are going to justify your sample, because now you are going to generalize. I believe that you are following the positivism approach and the quantitative approach, and you have to generalize your results. Then how you justify your sample, because sample matters to generalization.
So, madam, in that case, I'm going ahead with convenience sampling as a technique because of the situation.
Do you have anything that why you get that convenience sample? How you justify your convenience sample method in relation to this particular generalization?
So, madam, now from the faculties that I have considered here, there are a lot of contacts that I can actually reach out, and they are also having a background of this nature of entrepreneurial intention and all that. So I feel
I think that's better to read something on the sampling and convenient sampling. So if you are getting a sample like convenient, it should be justifiable. Then convenient samples can't be applied for everywhere. And please read that, and it needs a strong justification.
What is the originality? This my theory is my.
Then this is my only a proposal, and better to look that. Other than that, good proposal and good work, and better to concern with those. What I think it is. You have to concern with what I said, and other than that, good work. But for me, actually, I have read plenty of research articles based on entrepreneurial intention. Many of undergraduates in Sri Lanka, especially reading for entrepreneurship, is doing this entrepreneurial intention research, a kind of research. And so this has many research articles are there in Sri Lankan context.
Yes.
And then you have to have a little bit, you should read those articles too, to strengthen your the problem identification and strengthen your knowledge gap and either the contextual gap or the theoretical gap. So when you are writing that gap analysis, that is the problem identification, and please go through with those articles and the literature available in Sri Lankan context and the other countries' context, and strengthen your research problem. And thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for the comments, madam.
Thank you, madam. Researcher, Ms. Pereira, I have some doubts regarding your research work. One is the factors, your heading is factors affecting the entrepreneurial intentions of undergraduates of University of Sri Lanka. This good work you did, it's okay. But your heading is based on the which factors affect. And also you did some in your methodology part, you are putting that correlation and regression analysis.
Yes.
But you are missed to analysis the regression part to effect, right? That effect mean we need to do some regression analysis whether the particular factors impact on the undergraduates, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So I am asking two questions. One is which factors mostly affect entrepreneurial intention? You select 5 variables. From that 5 variables, which factors mostly affect entrepreneurial intention?
So, according to all research, it's attitude towards behavior and subjective norms. But perceived feasibility is also said in literature that it is affecting, but has not been tested much.
And also another question, you have selected the samples from the different faculties. Maybe which faculty students willing to, they have the entrepreneurial intention to start the business.
So actually now in my population, there are 4 faculties. So out of the 4, some are even medical students are there in the population. But I feel like entrepreneurship is something, I mean, you don't have to actually be, it's better if you are coming from a educational background of business. But there could be students who are not coming from that background, but still willing to start a business. So that's the purpose of getting them also involved in my study to see if they also have that intention or not. Yes.
Okay. And also my another one advice to you, these type of factors affecting the entrepreneurial intention of the, there are so many research methodology, research analysis ROI level. You can do some regression analysis. So to compare each factors, that is very important. Regression analysis. In your future studies, you can consider that type of regression analysis using, but you are undergraduate students using some AMOS packages and other setup packages. Using that one is good for your research, for your further development. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the comment, sir.
Good morning, Demi or Demi?
Good morning, sir.
It's a nice presentation.
Thank you so much.
You have done about the studying on entrepreneurial intention among university students.
Yes, sir.
Actually, I am very impressed on entrepreneurial alertness. That is, I think that variable has not taken many researchers in Sri Lankan context. I appreciate it. I would like to suggest for your future studies and for your publications, the one thing is like you can highlight entrepreneurial intention level through demographic variables, because it is very much important to understand what is the level of entrepreneurial intention among the students, right?
So
especially not only the management factor, not general, you can take management faculty students and other faculties and compare it. You can do the comparison study also. And doing the mean comparison and t-test, you can see significant differences are there between management students and other students. That is the good area you can do.
Okay, sir.
And actually, if you present the mean comparison, I could see that because in 2008, I have done similar study. At that time, I found the university students' entrepreneurial intention level is 2%. Then I wanted to know that how much it has changed or not. That if you presented it, I could see, okay, now it has increased or decreased, right?
Yes, sir. Okay. I will
that part you can do. Another one, I am not taking much time. Another one is, as another comment, another chair also inform you that because of this is your objectives are correlation, it is not so telling us you are finding the impact, right?
Yes.
If you want to find the impact, definitely you can have to run the regression, and at the same time you did that way, you can list, okay, this is the most highly impacting factor for the entrepreneurial intention. But without doing the regression, then you can say like you are searching only for relation. Then you have to change your topic.
Okay, sir. I will change.
Right. Thank you very much. Wish you all the best for your academic and
Thank you, sir.
future endeavors.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the comments.
Thank you very much, Professor Sunitra Pereira, Dr. Pushpanathan, and Professor Nisanta for your valuable comments. Audience, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you very much, Professor Sunitra, Professor Nishanta, and also Dr. Pushpanathan for your valuable comments on Demi Pereira's poster presentation. We would now like to move on to the next presenter, who is DBHM Pereira, presenting the determinants of digital literacy among SMEs in Colombo District, Sri Lanka.
Good day to you all.
No, now we can't hear you. Your voice little bit louder.
Good day to you all. So I'm Heshan Pereira, a final year student of Department of Entrepreneurship. My research topic goes as determinants of digital literacy among SMEs in Colombo District, Sri Lanka. Based on that, my research problem arises as what are the determinants of digital literacy among SMEs in Colombo District, Sri Lanka. So the background of the research based on the literature by Stoltman and Kroon, also Muhlen, that are digital transformation nearly invaded all of our life, such as online grocery sales to a web life partner almost. So based on that, two main issues characterize the digital divide, that are limited and expensive infrastructure and limited digital literacy. Also, limited digital literacy is the key point, key problem to be a not digital transformation society in most countries. So based on that, my main objective is to find out the determinants that affect digital literacy among SMEs in Colombo District, Sri Lanka. And my specific objectives rely as to identify this relationship between digital self-efficacy and digital literacy. Also, identify the relationship between facilitating conditions and digital literacy. Also, relationship between perceived playfulness and digital literacy, and lack of digital anxiety and digital literacy. The objectives based on the conceptual framework designed Venkatesh in 2000 based on the technology acceptance model which was innovated by Davis, and this is an extended model of it. So based on Venkatesh 2000, I used my conceptual framework like this, that are my independent variables, digital self-efficacy, facilitating conditions, perceived playfulness, and lack of digital anxiety. My debate is digital literacy. My hypotheses are there is a significant positive relationship between digital self-efficacy and digital literacy, there is a significant positive relationship between facilitating conditions and digital literacy, and also there is a significant positive relationship between perceived playfulness and digital literacy, and again there is a significant positive relationship between lack of digital anxiety and digital literacy. So my proposed methodology goes like this: population 1,035,000 and 998 SMEs. Sampling method is simple random sampling. Sample is 383 under 95% confidence level and 5% error. Data collection method is structured questionnaire, data analysis and presentation by statistical package for social sciences. So the expected findings are reveal that there is a significant positive relationship between the use of computer application and digital literacy of SMEs. Also, it is to be found that a similar kind of relationship exists between digital self-efficacy, facilitating conditions, perceived playfulness, and lack of digital anxiety.
You have finished?
Yes, madam. We would like to hear your.
Did you finish?
Yes, madam. I think it is over, and we would like to hear your comments on it.
I don't remember student name. So did that student finish the presentation? Can we talk?
Yes, ma'am. Sure.
Heshan,
I'm Heshan.
Yeah,
Heshan
Heshan,
Pereira.
did you finish the work?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. And so you have completed this study, or are you still completing?
Actually, for now, I'm at the planning for data collecting. So
Okay.
yeah, it's still proceeding.
All right. So are you going to that you said that you are testing the Venkatash model? Yeah, of course, yes, you can. And the Venkatash very recently, I'm now giving the supervision, one of the PhD. It is digitalization and the digitalization and the growth of SMEs. And so the financial literacy intermediate, so it is a mediating variable. Oh, yeah, the Venkatash has mentioned it as an intermediating variable. So are you going to determine the digital literacy among SMEs, or are you going to measure the relationship?
It's the determinants, madam.
Yeah, when you are determine something, so the methodology, so what is the methodology that you are going to adapt with the determination of these variables?
I think I'm going with the regression part.
Yeah, but so then how you determine through regression? Tell me. You said that you are going to test the relationship.
Yeah, based on the relationship, I'm going to find out that there is a whether it is a valuable determinant or not.
Oh, so so why you are not doing that? Because are you exploring the factors of the digital literacy, or are you confirming the factors that has affected to the digital literacy?
I'm basically, for now, at the moment, I didn't find any research that conducted whether to check the digital literacy on SMEs. So that I think it's a finding.
Yeah, it means that you are going to explore. Is that?
Explore, yeah.
So then, for that, you must do the exploratory analysis, exploratory factor analysis. Otherwise, you can't determine the thing. You want to determine the thing because previously the researchers has not touched, or that is the epistemology that we have to think about. Based on that ontology, we have to think about those people did not, the researchers did not touch the area. And so I'm going to touch this area. This is the newest one. So now we are going to explore the factors. You are determining the factors that is basically affected to the digital literacy among the SMEs. And so you have to do the exploratory factor analysis rather than going for the regression or the testing the relationship. You are not testing the relationship. You are exploring the factors that has been affected. That is what I feel. That is what I got from your discussion. You are going to explore. You are not confirming the factors, because if you do the confirmatory factor analysis, there might be some epistemological research that has been done by other researchers. These are the factors that there are grounded theories, and so there are theories and there are factors that has been affected to the digital literacy. You are telling that there isn't any research is available in Sri Lankan context as well as in the world context that has been explore the factors that has been affected to the digital literacy. And so if you are telling that, you have to have strongly support your argument with your problem identification and introduction. And so no, there isn't any research article in this particular field of study. This is the newest. And you have to strongly argue that one. Then you can explore the thing. And this might be the newest one. Because I haven't done any research on this area, but one of my PhD student is doing that. And now, according to him, there are 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 articles. In Bangladesh, there were 5, 6 articles, and the SME works are doing in Ghana and Kenya. There are plenty of SME related research over there, especially with the digitalization, digital financing. And please go through with these journal articles before going through the data collection. And so the Ghana and the Kenya is most feasible countries that has been done many studies on SMEs and the financial literacy. And there are 5, 6, 7, 8 articles that has been took place in Asian context too. I don't know. I don't think that in Sri Lanka the studies are very, very limited. Might be there. But however, you have to do the confirmatory factor analysis and go with that. And so that is my perception, my proposal for you, because you are going to explore the factors. You are going to determine, and you are exploring, and you are going to determine. Then for that, you can run the regression. These are the main impacted factors. First, you have to do the exploratory factor analysis. You have to explore the factors. From that factors, you have to tell that these are the most impacted factors through regression. You can finally run the regression, but first you have to explore the factors. For that, you have to do the exploratory factor analysis. And then you can run the regression later on. And that is my I'm not telling this is advice. That is my proposal for you to follow. That is the methodology that you should follow. And other than that, I wish you all the best for your research work. And this is the good area of study, the prominent area of study, promisable area of study especially in entrepreneurship and small business. Thank you.
Hey, Shan,
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
I'm Dr. Nala here. So I have one question. So to begin with, so how you are going to measure digital literacy? So now that is a skill. So I want to know how you are going to measure. in your research?
I'm going to measure it based on the perception of the user or SME owner.
Mm-hmm. Now think about that.
Whether
Yeah, tell. Go on.
whether the owner has the confident enough that he or she can use digitalization or digital tools or transfer into digital tools. So the questionnaire based on that.
Is that a standard questionnaire that you are going to use, standard scale?
Yeah, the questionnaire is also from the Venkatesh 2000.
All right, okay, then okay. So because it's a skill actually, so when you are thinking about this measuring digital literacy or something like that, so you need to actually measure their skill by asking certain question about digital aspect. Then you have to get the answer, just like educational research. So I think so if you are using the Venkatesh model, so the questionnaire might be in that line. And the second thing I wanted to mention about, I found that in the Demi's presentation also. So when you are defining your research objectives, so research objectives should be different from your hypothesis. Now, when you see your hypothesis and research objectives, so almost similar, right? Almost similar. So in earlier presentation also, as a listeners, we are very interested about you understand your dependent variable. So I think one chair mentioned about that one also. So when you are talking about something digital literacy among SMEs, we need to know about what is the level, whether it is high, whether it is low, whether it is going up, what is the differences between demographic factors and digital literacy. So therefore, I recommend, I just mentioned that one. So when you are thinking about research objectives should stem from the research question. So one of the key research question when you are doing research is about explaining about the dependent variable, because that is the major concern, digital literacy. So we need to improve that one. So therefore, I think so you better to include one research question, and then based on that you come up with the research objectives to explain about the level of digital literacy among SMEs in Sri Lanka. So then that will give some kind of a awareness among the readers. Okay, this is the level, and what factors influencing on this level, and what kind of remedial actions we need to take if it is very low to take it to up. Is that clear? So
Yes, sir. Yes.
you can work with your supervisor. So don't put the similar uh, objectives as hypothesis or hypothesis as objectives. I think that the Dami's presentation also, I found that same thing. One last question: how you are going to get the simple random sample for this research?
For now, sir, we are drafting a letter and going to get the permission from census and statistic to get a sampling framework. So for now, because of that, I put the sampling method as simple random sampling.
Right. Then how you are going to collect data?
Data, the sampling framework from the census and statistic
No. I mean,
department.
how you are going to collect data, through online or face-to-face interview?
No. Through an email with the questionnaire, attached questionnaire in Sinhala.
Mhm. That means you are assuming that all the SMEs might have email addresses. Okay.
Uh, or not, then I hope to go face to face and give the questionnaire to fill
Right.
without face to face interviews.
Right. So you think about those things, because at the end of the day, so your research finding will depend on these the decisions that you are making, right?
Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Keshan,
Uh,
Dr.
yes, sir.
Bushmanathan, then shall I tell Heshan to follow that? So read the Houston 2010 article.
yeah.
And there is an article by Houston 2010. The digital literacy questionnaire is there, and Houston 2010. And go that particular article, read that article, and understand how he measured the digital literacy.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Keshan, I also do some advice to you. Thing is, I incorporate something with the Professor Sunetra Pereira. Thing is, when you are calculate determinants, you are doing the determinants factors, you need to calculate the exploratory analysis and you need to measure rank the variables, rank the determinants 1 to 3, right? After that, you can get the findings. It is my advice to you. Thank you, Keshan, for your bright future.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you all for your comments.
Thank you very much, all of the session chairs, for your valuable comments. I hope you can hear me now.
Yeah,
Then
we
it's-
can. We
Okay.
can.
Extremely sorry for the technical difficulty we had due to my unconnected microphone. So to go ahead with the poster presentations, I would now like to invite TP Sumihiri, YAAG Veeratunga, and MPS Lochana to present their presentation on the poster Factors Affecting Entrepreneurial Intention Among Advanced Level Students in Galle District, Nuwara District, and Gampaha District.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Avishka Veeratunga, final year undergraduate from Department of Entrepreneurship in Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce in University of Sri Jagannath. My research supervisor is Dr. Sriyani Ranasinghe. My research topic is Factors Affecting Entrepreneurial Intention Among Advanced Level Students in Nuwara District in Sri Lanka. My research problem is what is the impact of factors on entrepreneurial intention among advanced level students in Nuwara District in Sri Lanka? My main objective is to study the impact of factors influence on entrepreneurial intention among advanced level students in Nuwara District. So my specific objectives are identify the impact of attitudes toward behavior on entrepreneurial intention, identify the impact of subjective norms on entrepreneurial intention, identify the impact of perceived behavioral control on entrepreneurial intention, identify the impact of personality traits on entrepreneurial intention among advanced level students in Nuwara District in Sri Lanka. There are 4 independent variables in my conceptual framework, which are attitude towards behavior, subjective norms, perceived behavioral control, and personality traits. So my dependent variable is entrepreneurial intention. My first hypothesis is attitude toward behavior with respect to entrepreneurship has a positive, significant effect on entrepreneurial intention among advanced level students. Second hypothesis is subjective norms with respect to entrepreneurship has a positive significant effect on the entrepreneurial intention among advanced level students. Third hypothesis is perceived behavioral control with respect to entrepreneurship has a positive significant effect on the entrepreneurial intention among advanced level students. Fourth hypothesis is personality traits with respect to entrepreneurship has a positive significant effect on the entrepreneurial intention among advanced level students. There are 2,439 advanced level students in commerce stream in Nuwara District. That will be my population. I'm using convenient sampling method as my sampling method. There are 331 selected advanced level students in my sample. I'll use online survey distribution for my collect data. For my descriptive and for my data analysis and presentation, I'll use descriptive analysis, correlation, and regression analysis. My expected findings are there is a positive significant relationship between attitude towards behavior and entrepreneurial intention. There's a positive relationship between subjective norms and entrepreneurial intention. There is a positive relationship between perceived behavioral control and entrepreneurial intention. There's a positive relationship between personality traits and entrepreneurial intention among advanced level students in Nuwara district in Sri Lanka. Those are my references. Thank you very much.
Good day, everyone. I'm TPG SS Palyaguru, final year undergraduate, Department of Entrepreneurship in Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce in University of Sri Jayawardhanapura. My research topic is factors affecting entrepreneurial intention among advanced level students in Galle district in Sri Lanka. My supervisor is Ms. Puguduni Liyanage. My research problem is what is the impact of factors on entrepreneurial intention among advanced level students in Galle district in Sri Lanka. My research main objective is identify the factors affecting entrepreneurial intention among advanced level students in Galle district, Sri Lanka. Specific objectives are to identify the relationship between attitudes towards behavior and entrepreneurial intention, to identify the relationship between subjective norms and entrepreneurial intention, to identify the relationship between perceived behavioral control and entrepreneurial intention, and to identify the relationship between personality traits and entrepreneurial intention. There are 4 independent variables and 1 dependent variables in my conceptual framework. Attitudes towards behavior, subjective norms, perceived behavioral control, and personality traits are independent variables. Entrepreneurial intention is dependent variable. Hypotheses are: first hypothesis is attitudes towards entrepreneurship has a positive significant effect on the entrepreneurial intention among advanced level students. Second one is subjective norms with respect to entrepreneurship has a positive significant effect on the entrepreneurial intention among advanced level students. Third one is perceived behavioral control with respect of entrepreneurship has a positive significant effect on the entrepreneurial intention among advanced level students. And fourth one is personality traits with respect of entrepreneurship has a positive significant effect on entrepreneurial intention among advanced level students. Our population is 4,260 advanced level students in commerce stream according to the annual report of Census and Statistics 2019. Sampling method is convenient sampling method. Sample size is 360 advanced level students. Data collection method is online survey distribution, data analysis and presentation, descriptive analysis, correlation and regression analysis. Expected findings are there is a positive significant relationship between attitudes towards behavior and entrepreneurial intention among advanced level students in Galle district, Sri Lanka. And there is a positive relationship between subjective norms and entrepreneurial intention among advanced level students in Galle district, Sri Lanka. Third one is there is a positive relationship between perceived behavioral control and entrepreneurial intention among advanced level students in Galle district, Sri Lanka. And fourth one is there is a positive relationship between personality traits and entrepreneurial intention among advanced level students in Galle district, Sri Lanka. Those are the references of my research study.
Good day, everyone. I am MPS Lochana, final year undergraduate from Department of Entrepreneurship in Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce in University of Sri Jayawardhanapura. My research supervisor is Ms. Puguduni Liyanage. My research topic is factors affecting entrepreneurial intention among advanced level students in Galle district, Sri Lanka. My research problem is what is the impact of factors on entrepreneurial intention among advanced level students in Galle district, Sri Lanka. The main objective of my research study is to identify the factors affecting entrepreneurial intention among advanced level students in Galle district, Sri Lanka. There are 4 specific objectives. Those are to identify the relationship between attitude towards behavior and entrepreneurial intention, and to identify the relationship between subjective norms and entrepreneurial intention, to identify the relationship between perceived behavioral control and entrepreneurial intention, and lastly, to identify the relationship between personality traits and entrepreneurial intention. My conceptual framework consists of 4 independent variables and 1 dependent variable. The 4 independent variables are attitude towards behavior, subjective norms, perceived behavioral control, and personality traits. The dependent variable is entrepreneurial intention. There are 4 hypotheses in my research study. The first hypothesis is attitude toward behavior has a positive significant effect on the entrepreneurial intention among advanced level students. The second one is the subjective norms with respect to entrepreneurship has a positive significant effect on the entrepreneurial intention among advanced level students. Third hypothesis is perceived behavioral control with respect to entrepreneurship has a positive significant effect on the entrepreneurial intention among advanced level students. The final one is the personality traits with respect to entrepreneurship has a positive significant effect on the entrepreneurial intention among advanced level students. According to the annual report of Census and Statistics in 2019, there are 9,412 advanced level students in commerce stream in Gampa district. The sampling method is convenient sampling method which we followed. So the sample size in my research study is 370 advanced level students. Data collection method will be online survey distribution, and the data analysis and presentation will describe in descriptive analysis, correlation, and regression analysis. There are 4 expected findings. Those are there is a positive significant relationship between attitude towards behavior and entrepreneurial intention among advanced level students in Kampala district, Sri Lanka. There is a positive relationship between subjective norms and entrepreneurial intention among advanced level students in Kampala district, Sri Lanka. There is a positive relationship between perceived behavioral control and entrepreneurial intention among advanced level students in Kampala district, Sri Lanka. The fourth expected finding is there is a positive relationship between personality traits and entrepreneurial intention among advanced level students in Gampa district, Sri Lanka. Those are the references which related to my study. Thank you.
Thank you very much for 3 of your presentations. I have one question, either one of you can answer. What is your research problem? Why you do this research?
So, Mavishka here.
Yes, Savishka.
So our research problem to identify what are the factors in our entrepreneurial intention among advanced learners. So what we are finding is what can improve their entrepreneurial intention. After that, we identified the most common method is Hudson's theory of planned behavior. So we use that. In addition to the novelty and our contribution, we add one other variable, which is personality traits. So we are trying to here identify the impact those variables, but what we plan to do is how we can improve the entrepreneurial intention. To test that, we use these variables.
Okay, the thing is, this is repeating. You are repeating Colombo, you are repeating Gampa, you are repeating goal, right? The same issue. The thing is, if you have found in pilot study, if there is the entrepreneurial intention is low in advanced level students, or if you have someone like some researchers have identified that the entrepreneurial intention is low in the advanced level students, then there is a problem. It's an empirical problem to study. At the same time, Colombo, Goal, Gampaha, are there any validity or are there any valid reason to study on entrepreneurial intention, right? Because in your research, there should be a theoretical gap, empirical gap, right? You may try to catch up with fill the empirical gap, but theoretical gap also you have to highlight at the same time. There's an issue. Why you do this one?
So
Yes.
According to my research, I am doing this research on rural area students, which is a rural area. We found that there are several studies among advanced level students in Colombo district and among university students. But my intention is to find what kind of factors that can improve the rural areas students. I want to test if there is a significant effect on these variables, we can improve their entrepreneurial intention among rural areas. Will help to get rid of the poverty of among rural district. That's my intentions.
Okay, but
so that's my gaps. That's what I'm going to find.
Okay, but I'm not going to argue with you. Anyway, that think on the areas I have highlighted. You should have a proper issue and the valid reason to do the repeat in the same style, right?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I have one observation. So all these 3 presentation and other presentation as well. If you look at the PowerPoint, the poster, so there are only one thing. So you have objectives. Then the same thing. Then we, as a experience, we can see from the conceptual framework, and you have the hypothesis, and you have the expected findings. So you look at that one carefully. So you are having the same information, so with slight wording changes. So but when you are thinking about the presentation, so significant of the study, as the Dr. Said that one. So why you want to now, as I can see, so you are going to do some kind of a data collection of the data set preparation from getting 3 districts with the same variable. That means at the end of the day, so you are going to have a bulk of data about the 3 districts in Sri Lanka. I don't know, there might be some other students also collecting that one, leading to a bigger research, but there should be a reason. Now that reason should come from either your own experience in Sri Lankan context, or otherwise you need to take from the literature. Now for example, India, Bangladesh, or anywhere, the high school students having high entrepreneurial intention. So you need to have some kind of a troubling condition. So the something happened in Sri Lanka that not par with the existing knowledge. So that's what you need to seek, right? So that's what we call as problem, empirical problem. So otherwise, so there are when it's come to entrepreneurial process, there are so many things than entrepreneurial intention. So when you are thinking about entrepreneurial intention in specific, so you need to have some kind of a justification at the final year undergraduate. So you need to bring in that one, why you want to do this study, what is the troubling condition, right? So the Avishkar's explanation is just superficial. So you want to check the advanced level students factors influencing, but why you want to do that? What is the trouble? What is the troubling condition that you are having that push you to do this research? So that is the thing that asked by the doctor also. So you need to think about that one from the young age. So you need to think about this problem statement is very, very important. So we used to say the identifying problem is the biggest problem in research, but you need to identify. So you need to have a troubling condition, then you need to look for the theories and existing literature. Can I get the answer for this my troubling condition from the literature? If you cannot get that one, there's no research conducted about on advanced level students in Galle district or somewhere, then only you can go for the research. So that justification you need to present actually. So all the presenters, I'm just telling to all the presenters, when you are doing the proposal presentation, that justification should be highlighted in your poster, not the repetitive things about the research objectives and conceptual framework, hypotheses and expected finding. So look at that one, all are same. So that is disturbing, but we need to know the more detail about what you are doing. These topics are very good, very, very important topics. So you have done tremendous job there. But when you are thinking, when you are learning research, so I think so when you are preparing these posters, so you need to think about the ingredients that you are going to put there that convince the researcher, wow, this is fantastic research. But that spark is not there. So that is, it's just a part of learning. So you can learn that one. That's we are giving constructive advice. So when you are thinking about your research, you think about those things, and especially avoid the convenient sampling when you are using parametric statistics, because at the end of the day, you are going to inference your finding to the entire population. If you are getting a convenient sampling and if you have bias towards sample, then your finding cannot be generalized. So therefore, those are the basic things that you need to think about when you are doing research. So that's from my end. All the best for all the presenters.
Thank you, sir.
Hello. Thing is, I am giving the one suggestion for 3 presenters. When you are writing the research papers, you need to put the significance. Both 3 presenters heading is factors affecting entrepreneurial intentions. So what are the factors affecting? We need to put the significance. In the A-level student, after A-level, some students are facing some unemployment problems. So that type of significance you need to mention in your studies. Anyway, your 3 people's research is very good. I appreciate your, now all of you are the undergraduates, so I appreciate your effort. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Nishanta, Dr. Pushpanathan, and Dr. Vikramasinghe for your valuable comments. Professor Sunetra, do you have anything to add, madam?
Yes, and so again, I want to tell to these undergraduates, I totally agree with Dr. Nalaka and the previous Dr. Nishantos, I think Dr. Nishanta. And especially, I agreed all the comments that they have presented. I think the undergrad research is research. You have to search again and again. And if you want to searching again and again, there should be something to search. If there isn't anything to search, you don't want to search again and again. And that is the meaning of the research. And that is why I totally agree with all these 2 personalities. And what I want to tell you is, for the undergraduate especially, the originality should be put into your mind. So when you are doing a research, the originality must be there. If there isn't any originality of your research, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that research. And think about it, then get thorough understanding of methodology and methods. As I totally agree with Dr. Nalaka, because if you are selecting the convenient sample, according to my understanding, convenient sampling can't be generalized because you are getting that sample in convenience. So for that is what I said, that at least you have to read the methodology books, sampling techniques, justification of your sample. It is must, because based on your sample, you are generalizing the information. You are giving something to the some contribution to the field of study. So when you are giving some contribution to the field of study, it should have novelty, and it should be justifiable. And if you can't generalize it, then your findings is useless. So think about those things. And when you are selecting the methods and methodology, please read methods and methodology books and how to select a correct methodology, either quantitative or qualitative or mix, inductive or deductive or mix. That's up to you to decide the methodology. However, you have to have you should have clear path, where you are going, how you are going, what you are doing, and especially when identification of the problem. So based on the problem, based on the objective, you must select your methodology, and you have to think about your sampling technique and sample method and those things. And so please put into all these things to your mind. You are new intellectuals who are coming to the field of entrepreneurship. So, but however, when you are doing a research is different than when you are reading for a subject. And it is totally different. There are methodology and methods, and you have to know about the difference between methodology and methods, especially, and know about the sample and sampling techniques. Justification of your particular sample is must for the research, and especially in the quantitative techniques, not the qualitative one. And those things should be there in your mind. And I wish you all the best for all these researchers, but novelty should be there with your research. I didn't see any novelty with this last research, because there are plenty of research that has been done in Sri Lankan context on entrepreneurial intention. And so that is my observation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you very much, madam. And we are indeed grateful for all of your comments, and it is immensely helping our undergraduates to improve their research. With that, we will move on to the next presenter, who will be presenting the internal factors affecting growth of SMEs in Gampaha district of Sri Lanka. It is presented by IRSE Thamesha.
Good morning everyone, I am Changu Thamesha and my research topic is about internal factors affecting growth of SMEs in Gampaha district, Sri Lanka. My research is supervised by Ms. Chadinisa Silva. Let's start the research problem of the study. It will be identified as what internal factors are affecting the growth of SMEs in Gampaha district, Sri Lanka. The main objective of the study is identify and analyze the relationship of internal factors affecting the growth of SMEs in Gampaha district, Sri Lanka. And there are 4 specific objectives can be identified in this research. First one is analyze the relationship between entrepreneurial competencies and growth of the SMEs. Second one is analyze the relationship between managerial capacities and growth of the SMEs. Third one is analyze the relationship between marketing skills and growth of the SMEs. Fourth one is analyze the relationship between technological capacities and growth of the SMEs. When it comes to the conceptual framework, the independent variables are entrepreneurial competencies, managerial capacities, marketing skills, and technological capacities. The dependent variable is SMEs growth. Hypothesis. First hypothesis is there is a statistical significant positive relationship between entrepreneurial competencies and the growth of SMEs in Gampaha district, Sri Lanka. Second one is there is a statistical significant positive relationship between managerial competencies and the growth of the SMEs Gampaha district, Sri Lanka. Third one is there is a statistical significant positive relationship between marketing skills and the growth of SMEs in Gampaha district, Sri Lanka. Final one is there is a statistical significant positive relationship between technological capacities and the growth of SMEs in Gampaha district, Sri Lanka. When it comes to the 4-post methodology, population is 34,337 and sample method is simple random sampling and sample is 380 of SMEs under 95% competence level and 5% error. Data collection method is structured questionnaires and data analysis and presentation by statistical packages for social sciences version 22. When it comes to the expected finders, the expected finders of the study will reveal that there are statistical significant positive relationship with entrepreneurial competencies, managerial capacities, marketing skills, and technological capacity toward the growth of SMEs in Gampaha district, Sri Lanka. And this is the end of my poster presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Thamesha. Thamesha, how you going to measure the growth? That is very much important. Then please tell us. Ramesh, have you think about the measurement of or the growth of SMEs?
Sir, I think Tamesha is not there in the meeting right now.
Maybe.
So we would like to actually hear your comments, and we can convey your comments to him.
Yeah, I wanted to know he's measuring the financial growth or non-financial growth, because when he measuring the growth, I think better to include both. Otherwise, sometimes some researchers are using just Likert scale questions that may be not clearly like measuring the growth concept.
Right, sir. Thank you very much.
Actually, this growth is they can measure. Sometimes the SMEs, people, they don't have a proper recorder. Some people. So the measuring the growth is very difficult. It's a perceived growth is very important to calculate. They can ask some questions whether the particular year your profit is higher or not. That is the way they can calculate. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
What I want to tell to this student is, I totally agree with Dr. Nishant, because for me, the student might think, for example, sales increase. It is increase, it is not growth. So they have to think about the difference between growth and the increase.
Increase.
Yeah, and increase is not growth. And so there are definitions, or there are research findings to define growth. And some people think that sales increasement is the growth. No, it is not growth. And so clearly the students must understand the difference between growth and increase. Though it is very difficult.
No, don't misunderstand. I wanted to see that what is he's going to measure. Just I didn't come to the conclusion.
Yeah. But however, that I also understood that, and because the students, though they have put the dependent variable, they don't have clear measurements on how to measure the dependent variable. Because if they are running a regression or the correlation or whatever, there should be measures for measure the growth. And some people might think that the growth is increased. No, that is not. And the growth is different thing. The definition for growth is different than the increase. And that is what I want to tell to these students. And again, I have another question. Why only goes to the internal factors? How this is that particular internal factors were supported by the literature, and it was not mentioned here. The students should show us is that particular internal factors that has been mentioned by him, the marketing and the technical changes, technical capacities, and so on, was supported by the literature. Why only internal factors? Why didn't go for the external factors? And he has to tell us those things also. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, madam. We will definitely get it clarified with the students. Thank you very much once again for your valuable comments and suggestions.
I have one recommendation. I think so. This is for all the undergraduates. So when you are thinking about the research, so I think when I listen to this one, I feel this is obvious. I can see this all the hypotheses will be positive, because so that the independent variables are obviously influencing on the firm success. So therefore, when you are thinking about research problem or when you are identifying variable, so try to identify some kind of a controversial variables in literature. So challenge the status quo. For example, how happiness influence on the firm success or firm growth. So something like that. So, but otherwise, so when you have this directional hypothesis, so that sound, so all the research that you went through as a literature review might give the same answer. There's no significant reason to believe that won't happen in Gampa district also. So therefore, so it's a common advice to all. So always think about the trouble, think about the conflicting variables. That's where we need to improve our knowledge. So when you are using obvious variables, definitely you will get obvious answers. So uh, that will not improve our existing knowledge about the SME growth, right? So that's my observation in this particular topic.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much once again. With that, we would like to move to our next presenter, GGWN Rajapaksha, who will be presenting the impact of entrepreneurial orientation on the growth of SMEs in Western Province, Sri Lanka.
My name is Vakesh Rajpaksha. My research topic is Impact of Entrepreneurship Orientation on Business Performance of SMEs in the Western Province, Sri Lanka. Research problem to identify what the impact of entrepreneurship orientation on business performance of SMEs in the Western Province, Sri Lanka. Main objective to investigate the impact of entrepreneurship orientation on business performance of SMEs. There are 4 specific objectives to investigate the impact of innovativeness on business performance of SMEs and to investigate the impact of proactiveness on business performance of SME, to investigate the impact of risk-taking on business performance of SME, finally to investigate the impact of competitive aggressiveness on business performance of SMEs. When it comes to the conceptual framework, we are going with the 4 independent variables. There are innovativeness, proactiveness, risk-taking, and competitive aggressiveness. They are adopted with these independent variables, Lumpkin and Dess, 1996. And when it comes to the business performance, is the dependent variable, and it will be adopted with the 2 factors, financial and non-financial factors, according to Fatoki 2009. And when it comes to the hypothesis, H1, there is an impact of innovativeness on business performance of SME. H2 is there is an impact of proactiveness on business performance of SME. H3, there is an impact of risk-taking on business performance of SMEs. And H4 is there is an impact of competitive aggressiveness on business performance of SMEs. When come to the proposed methodology, population 324,449 registered SMEs are operating in the Western Province, Sri Lanka. Sampling method is convenience sampling method. Sample 384 registered SMEs under 95% confidence interval and a margin of error 5%. Data collection method is when we are distributing the questionnaire, and data analysis and presentation is a correlation and multiple regression analysis. Expected findings. This research expected to find a positive relationship between entrepreneurship orientation and business performance of SMEs. There will extend to the sub-factors identified, as well as will be positive impact between innovative, proactiveness, and risk-taking and competitive aggressiveness and business performance. The result of this analysis will help to identify importance of the entrepreneurship orientation on the business performance of SME. These are the research findings, executed findings, and these are references according to Department of Statistics and National Policy Framework for SMEs Development and GT Lumpkin 1996 and Miller the correlates of entrepreneurship in 3 types of firms, management side, and all over the Fataki 2009. That's it. Thank you.
So what is your unit of analysis in this research? Business or owner manager?
Hello, sir. I am not hearing you clearly.
So what is your unit of analysis? From whom, what is the respondent that you are targeting?
I am targeting SMEs in Western Province, Sri Lanka, because of the SMEs are more than failure rates in most of recent years. Because of that, how the effect of these SMEs entrepreneurship orientation, I am doing this research.
So you are going to collect data from owners of the SMEs.
Yeah, yeah.
So then how you are going to measure the business performance?
Both non-financial and non-financial factors. Financially, sales and profit. Then come to the non-financial, market share, productivity, sustainability, and customer and employee satisfaction.
Now, innovativeness means the owner's innovativeness or business innovativeness?
These are the business innovativeness, how they are introducing new products and other things. How the creativity of their including.
Right, so you have to be very careful with unit of analysis because your dependent variable and independent variable should be taken from the same respondent, then from the same. So if it is a dependent variable is from the business perspective and the independent variable with the individual perspective, then you need to take the unit of analysis as the owner or the owner manager, not the business. That's the point, because if you are checking the innovativeness of the entrepreneur, then your dependent variable should focus on the entrepreneur. So likewise, so there should be a what you call a vertical connection between independent and dependent variable, because otherwise you cannot analyze, right? So because you are taking dependent variable from business perspective, independent variables from individual perspective, there will be that is not impossible, but there will be serious statistical concerns when you are mapping one-to-one analysis. So as you mentioned, so I think there won't be much issues because you are not going to violate that one. So that's the thing, only thing I wanted to check on this. So this is compared to others, I feel, this is my personal opinion. So I feel this is something that there's something that we need to know about this particular issue. Well done.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. It's a nice presentation, and I actually appreciate because you are measuring the entrepreneurial orientation also, right? Because there are 3 variables you have taken related with the entrepreneurial orientation, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
According to the Miller,
and actually that you can check the individual impact and by those variables plus as an entrepreneur, by taking entrepreneurial orientation as separately, also you can measure the impact. That is good. Yeah. Another thing is like, well, not only you, Dr. Nalak also pointed out, one of the limitation is your objectives. One objective you can point it out to understand the current level of innovations, risk-taking, and business performance. After that only you can go to measure the impact, right? That you have to that you have to consider when you go further in your study. Thank you very much.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Other than that, what I want to mention here, I don't remember your name, Daru. Do you use control variable?
No, ma'am.
Control means that do you use because if you are measuring the impact, some control should be there. And if you are measuring the impact of owner managers, there should be some sample with controls. You control with some the variables, and so they didn't. They should not impacted by other environmental things or some the things like that. And there should be control group. Are you using control group? If you are measuring impact, there should be control group and uncontrol group. And the control group, from the control group, you have to take the data, and you have to measure the business performance and the innovations or proactiveness, or like the in entrepreneurial orientation. And so if you think about that, then because there should be a control group. Otherwise, there should be a pilot survey, a year ago survey that has been this for the same people and with the same conditions. And then you have to use that group again and measure the performance. Otherwise, the impact will not become. And there is a difference between impact studies and the effect studies. Impact and effect is two different kind of words for me. And think about that, and the word that you are using, impact. If you are using the impact, and you must have the control group. And if you use the word effect, it is different than the impact. For me, for my research, I am using such phenomena. Think about it.
Okay, madam.
Thank you very much, madam, once again for those valuable comments. With that, I would like to move on to the next presenter who would be presenting the impact of entrepreneurial orientation on the growth of SMEs in Western Province, Sri Lanka, which is by I.N. Raj.
Good morning, my dear lecturers and my dear friends. I'm Navin Raj, and my research topic is impact of entrepreneurial orientation on the growth of SMEs in Western Province, Sri Lanka. My research is supervised by Ms. H.N.R. Gunawardena, Assistant Lecturer of the department. So, starting off with the research problem of the study, it will be whether there is an impact of entrepreneurial orientation on SME growth in the Western Province, Sri Lanka. Moving to the objectives of the research, the main objective is to study the impact of entrepreneurial orientation on the growth of SMEs in the Western Province, Sri Lanka. There are three specific objectives of the research for the three sub-variables of entrepreneurial orientation. They will be to study the impact of innovativeness, proactiveness, and risk-taking on the growth of SMEs in Western Province, Sri Lanka. Speaking of the conceptual framework of the study, the independent variable will be entrepreneurial orientation, which will use the initial three dimensions proposed by Miller in 1983. So in this study, entrepreneurial orientation will be considered as a multidimensional construct rather than a unidimensional construct. Accordingly, innovativeness, risk-taking, and proactiveness will be the subdimensions of the study. Then the dependent variable growth of SMEs will also have three dimensions. They are sales growth, employment growth, and growth orientation scale used by Soinen and all in 2012. Also, there will be a moderating variable used, which is the age of the firm. Accordingly, there will be 6 hypotheses for the study. First set of hypotheses are for the subvariables of entrepreneurial orientation without the moderating effect, and the second set of hypotheses are for the subvariables of entrepreneurial orientation with the moderating effect. Now, moving on to the proposed methodology, starting with the study population, according to the data from the Department of Census and Statistics, it is identified that the population will be 186,694 registered SMEs in the Western Province. Initially, the population will be divided into clusters based on the geographical location, namely Gampa, Colombo, and Kalutara. So, and then convenience sampling will be used within these clusters to identify the representative sample because there is no proper database maintained related to the contact details of SMEs. So, accordingly, the sample size relevant for the study is calculated as 384 registered SMEs under a 5% significance level. Data will be gathered from the sample through a structured questionnaire and will be subjected to correlation analysis and multiple regression analysis. So speaking of the expected findings of the study, it is expected to have an outcome where there is a significant impact of entrepreneurial orientation on the growth of SMEs, and it will be further extended to the sub-variables identified as well, where it is expected that innovativeness, proactiveness, and risk-taking will have a significant impact on growth of SMEs individually. So with that, we have come to the end of my poster presentation. Thank you for the opportunity and thank you for listening.
Again, what I want to suggest you is you should understand the difference between growth and increase again. And the growth means actually increase in size, size, number, value of the strength. Whereas the increase means amount by which quantity is increased. So think about that. And so when you are measuring the dependent variable of yours, that is you are measuring growth. So you have to you have to think about the growth in size, growth in number, growth in value, or growth in strength. Not as the growth in amounts of sales and so on. So those are the major things that you should consider when you are doing your research. So that should be there in your mind, because this is very good research. But however, when you measure the growth, actually measure the growth, not the increase. So most of the people are measuring increase in terms of measuring growth. And so you have to think about that. That is my advice. Other than that, when you are measuring when you are doing the impact studies, the previous advice or the previous the words that I have told to the other person is valid for you too. Thank you.
Thank you, madam, for the feedback.
Thank you very much, madam. Session chairs, if there are any more comments, we are looking forward to hear from you. If not, we can move on to the next presenter. With that, I would like to invite the next presenter, P.L. Ratnasekara, to present the impact of network relationships on growth of SMEs in Kurunegala district, Sri Lanka.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Pasindu Ratnasekara, final year student in the Department of Entrepreneurship. My research is a kind of interesting one. This is regarding the network relationships and the growth of SMEs in Kurunegala district, Sri Lanka. So my research problem is, what is the impact of network relationships on the growth of SMEs in Kurunegala district, Sri Lanka? So my main objective is to identify the impact of network relationships on the growth of SMEs in Kurunegala district, Sri Lanka. So my specific objectives is to explore how and why entrepreneurial networks of actors differ in each phase of SMEs, and to examine the role of the impact of entrepreneurial networks on SMEs performance. So entrepreneurship have a different kind of relationship with networks. If a good entrepreneur, definitely he should have a lot of relationship. So if we take all the relationships in the literature, I found two common areas, which are social networks and interorganizational network. So these are the people dealing with in outside party and also inside party with regard to network relationships. So my independent variable will be social networks, and other independent variable will be interorganization network. So the dependent variable will be growth of SMEs. So if I take the hypothesis, one hypothesis is social network has significant impact on the growth of SMEs, and other hypothesis is a interorganization network has significant impact on the growth of SMEs. So my population is Kurunagala district, Sri Lanka. So there are 1.6 million people in Kurunagala. So my sampling method will be cluster sampling method. So I'm taking 14 clusters in each provincial areas in Kurunagala. So there are 14 provincial areas, and my sample size is 10 into 14, 140. And my data collection method, a primary method will be a structured questionnaire. Then I will use reports and other secondary data methods also. So the data analysis and presentation should be using by SPSS software. So my expected findings of this research study are to analyze the relationship between network relationships and growth of SMEs. It is expected to have an outcome where there is a significant relationship between network relationships and the growth of SMEs. So that is the basic idea of my presentation, and that is the basic idea of my research. And thank you very much for having your valuable time to listen to my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pasindu. Your voice is very, very interesting, very attractive. Then what I want to see is that one of your specific objective is to see whether different network, interorganizational network and social network is influencing in different stage of growth of the SMEs. I am correct?
Yes, for the growth of SMEs, the relationship between the network relationships to the growth of SMEs.
No, in one specific objective you have mentioned like different phases of the growth of SMEs.
No, sir, actually I didn't mention about the phases.
Right. You mean just you want to see the impact of
just the growth of
social
SMEs,
entrepreneurs, social network and organizational network.
Yes, yes.
Isn't it?
Yes, sir, yes.
Right. Then it's not much issue actually, that is good, but at my earlier point is valid. You have to mention about the current situation to understand the current level of growth and networks, social and organization, so social and organizational network among the SMEs.
Yes.
And other comments are same for you also. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Good presentation, Daru, but what I want to mention here, so when you are looking when I am looking the framework, you have used a very old literature, that is 2002. Now this is 2021. There are new literature regarding to the networking. And so I particularly know about this area and went through with the new literature, how they define the network and how they think about the networking of the people. You have used two variables to define, or two subconstructs to describe your independent variable, that is networking, social network and organizational network. And now it has gone up to some more than more levels, and so there are new literature regarding to the networking. And so went through with this. When you are doing a research, go for the new literature, and might be literature regarding to the past 5 years or past 10 years. And this is more older than 10 years. And this is 2021. And networking has moved very fastly. And the theories as accumulating very fastly with the networking. So as a the researcher begins with the undergraduate level. So think about the newest literature. And so from that, you have to have put your step and stepping on from that point. And so that is my personal feeling. But this is a very good research. And continue with that thing there in your mind. Thank you.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you very much, sir and madam. With that, we would like to move on to the next presenter, JADIS Apuhami, who would be presenting the impact of the triple bottom line on the sustainable entrepreneurial performance of the manufacturing industry in Sri Lanka.
Hello everybody, my name is Imesh Apuhami. I'm a final year student at the Department of Entrepreneurship in the Faculty of Management Studies and Commerce at University of Sri Ravadhanpura, and I'm going to describe the research that I plan to conduct. And for this, my research supervisor would be Mr. Shyama Udayanga, the head of the department at Department of Entrepreneurship and a senior lecturer. So my research would be based on sustainability, where my research topic would be the impact of the triple bottom line on the sustainable entrepreneurial performance of the manufacturing industry in Sri Lanka. So using that topic, I have developed my research problem, which is what is the impact of the triple bottom line on the sustainable entrepreneurial performance of the manufacturing industries in Sri Lanka. My objectives of doing this research is mainly to identify the most impactful factor of the triple bottom line, which are namely the economic, social, and the environmental factors that affect the sustainability performance or the sustainable entrepreneurial performance of the manufacturing industry in Sri Lanka. So the secondary or my specific objectives would be to identify the relationship between the economical factor and the sustainable entrepreneurship performance of the manufacturing industry, and also to identify the relationship between the social factor and the sustainable entrepreneurial performance of the manufacturing industry in Sri Lanka, and also to identify the environmental factor and the sustainable performance of the manufacturing industry in Sri Lanka. These relationships, to identify these relationships, I have set my objectives. And also my fourth specific objective would be to assess the relative gravity of the economic, social, and environmental factors affecting to sustainability in the manufacturing industry of Sri Lanka. Based on the objectives, I have selected my conceptual framework. The conceptual framework is adopted from the triple bottom line, which is one of the most influential models for the sustainability perspective, developed by Elkington in 1997. So the independent variables are the economic factor, the social factor, and the environmental factor. And I would be testing my relationship of these factors with the dependent variable, sustainable entrepreneurship. So let me now take you through the hypothesis of my research. The first hypothesis would be to identify the positive relationship to show that there is a positive relationship between economic factor and the performance of sustainable entrepreneurs in the manufacturing industry. And my second hypothesis would be to identify the positive relationship, to say that there is a positive relationship between the social factor and the performance of sustainable entrepreneurship in the manufacturing industry. And my third hypothesis would be to show that there's a positive relationship between the environmental factor and the performance of sustainable entrepreneurship in the manufacturing industry. So based on the hypothesis, I have shown my proposed methodology where I would be taking 2,674 businesses in the manufacturing industry. And how I got these statistics is from the latest report issued by the Ministry of Industry and Commerce. And using this population based on the convenient sampling method, which is the most effective sampling method to be used based on the current situation due to this pandemic, I have selected using a sample calculator at a 5% confidence interval 336 manufacturing industry businesses to be used. So the data collection from these 336 sample units would be done partially through an online survey for the ones that would be reachable, and also I would be adapting the same questionnaire, the same survey in the physical format as a questionnaire interview. The data analysis and the presentation would be done by adapting the regression and correlation analysis using the SPSS version 26, which is the latest version. By this data analysis, what I expect to find from all this data is to show that there's a positive relationship between the economic factor of triple bottom line and the sustainable entrepreneurial performance of the manufacturing industry in Sri Lanka, as well as to show that there's a positive relationship between the social factor of triple bottom line and the sustainable entrepreneurial performance of the manufacturing industry in Sri Lanka, as well as to show that there's a positive relationship between the environmental factor of triple bottom line and the sustainable entrepreneurial performance of the manufacturing industry in Sri Lanka. And also, the most important finding, another finding that I expect to find is the most influencing or the contributing element from the triple bottom line, from these economic, social, and environmental factors which affects towards the sustainability of an entrepreneurial venture performance. This would be my research, and based on the findings, based on the objectives, where I got the information, I have added a few references. I hope you understood as to what my research would be on, and I believe that this research would be a very good step in the field of sustainability. Thank you very much.
Professor Sunetra Pereira and Dr. C. N. Vikramasinghe. I would like to now receive any comments for Imesh.
Then I have one question. How you measure what are the measurement indicators for or the sub-constructs for measuring sustainability? Sustainable entrepreneurship.
Yes, sir. I have used the three indicators: eco-efficiency, the socio-economic concern, and the socio-environmental concern. Those three are the main indicators that I will be using. Based on these indicators, madam, the questions will be built.
Efficiency of the entrepreneurs and so on.
Yes, madam.
And how you measure the economic, social, and environmental factors?
For the economic factor, madam, I will be using the wealth maximization indicator, a brand value indicator, and a marketplace indicator. And for the social factor, labor practices, community impacts, and legal regulations. And for the environmental factor, it would be basically the environmental friendly practices, the energy consumption, and the product responsibility, madam.
It was supported by the literature?
Yes, madam, it was.
It must be supported by the literature. Okay,
yes,
other than that, the good presentation, carry on your work. When you are selecting sample, again, talk with your supervisor as well, and think about the sample selection there is a procedure and there is a selection of sample frame and everything is, especially the sample selection should be followed and methodology.
All right, madam. Thank you, madam.
Dr. Nalaka Vikramasinghe, do you have any comments for Image? With that, we will move on to the last presenter of the day, who will be RKTM Rajapaksha, presenting the impact of ICT adoption on performance of SMEs in Matra district, Sri Lanka.
I am Teshan Rajapaksha. My supervisor is Danuka Pereira, and my research topic is impact of information and communication technology adoption on performance of SMEs in Matra district, Sri Lanka. And my research problem is what is the impact of information and communication technology adoption on performance of SMEs in Matra district, Sri Lanka. And my main objective is analyze the impact of information and communication technology adoption on performance of SMEs, and the specific objectives are analyze the impact of adopting ICT for technological context on performance of SME, analyze the impact of adopting ICT for organizational context on performance of SMEs. The third one is analyze the impact of adopting ICT for environmental context on performance of SMEs. And this is my conceptual framework. The independent variables are technological context, organizational context, and environmental context. And the dependent variable is SME performance. Technological context defined through technological competence, and organizational context defined through managerial belief, and the environmental context defined through regulatory support and pressure intensity. And when we talk about the hypothesis, the first hypothesis is there is a significant relationship between technological context and SME performance. The second hypothesis is there is a significant relationship between organizational context and SME performance. The third hypothesis is there is a significant relationship between environmental context and SME performance. My total population is 43,423 SMEs, and my sampling method is simple random sampling, and my sample is 381, and the collection method is structured questionnaire, and data analysis and presentation I used is SPSS version 22. And when we talk about expected findings, the expected findings of the study are to reveal that there is a significant positive relationship between ICT adoption and the performance of SME. Also, it is to be found that a similar kind of relationship between technological context, organizational context, and environmental context and SME performance. And those are my references, and thank you very much.
Professor Sunetra, we would like to receive your comments. yet the student is unavailable at the session, but his supervisor is willing to receive your comments for his presentation.
Yeah, okay. And think about the word impact, and so there should be control group when you are doing a study on impact. And these, for the undergraduate, it is okay. Technological competencies, managerial belief. So those are very large concepts in management, and regulatory support. There are very big sub-constructs under this, and these are very huge concepts to be tested. However, okay for the undergraduate level, but he said that the managerial level belief will be tested through organizational level, and I believe that he has to do a lot of work if he will done the comprehensive research. For the managerial level, for the undergraduate level, it is okay. But for me, impact studies and effect studies are two different things. And when you are doing impact studies, there should be control variable. And convenient sample, again, can't be generalized. And the methods and methodology should be clearly understood by the student. But however, this is a very good research topic and good attempt by that particular student. That is what I want to mention here. Not advice, actually, my proposals that has been given to the other students is validate for him too. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. So, may I ask some follow-up questions regarding your comments, madam?
Professor Sunetra?
Yes, you can.
Right. So, he is still at the very initial stages. So he
yes,
just.
I know.
He is planning on collecting the data. So he will be collecting the data on the three constructs: technology, organization, and environment, primarily based on the perception, like perceived regulatory support, perceived level of competition, the pressure, and such. So we will have to go through the literature and figure out what are the most used questions in that regard. Plus, I wanted to get one clarification from all of you actually regarding the suitability of the topic, madam. Since we are trying to measure the impact of ICT adoption on SME performance, so we are actually using the three variables. The independent variables that is used in the model are factors that affects to the adoption of ICT. Since we are not using an intermediate variable as ICT adoption, is this model okay to bring about the objective of the study?
Yeah, for the undergraduate, okay. But if you are doing a master's or something, and so there are mediating and moderating effect on this. And so then they have to think about much more on the literature. And for the undergraduates, it is okay because now they are doing a primary kind of research now, and like action research and so on. And there are so for the technology adaptation, the moderating and mediating effect is very huge. For example, if technology adaptation model, it has been affected by the literacy and behavioral intention and so on. And believe so, and so that Venkatash model actually it says that so the behavioral intention is affected by major 4 factors, and especially for the technology adaptation. And so I don't think that the undergraduate should go for such levels. And for the undergraduate, it is okay. So he don't need to test the mediating and moderating effects. And so I don't think that undergraduates can do all those things. This is okay for him.
Sure, madam. Thank you, madam.
Okay. Did I answer to your question?
You did actually.
Okay.
As well as for myself also, since I am
Thank
learning
you.
a lot from all of your comments, madam.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Sunetra, for being with us throughout the session and giving your valuable insights for the undergraduates to develop their researches. And I think, and I should also say that this was very useful for me as well to improve my research knowledge. So thank you very much once again, madam, for your kind and continuous support throughout this session.
Thank you very much for Budini. So you are Pubudini, no?
No, madam, I'm not Pubudini. I'm Naduni. I'm from the Department of Entrepreneurship. So I'm
Thank
new
you,
recruit to the Department of Entrepreneurship.
Okay, thank you very much. Are you doctor or miss?
No, I'm miss. I just finished my undergraduate study and
Okay,
joined.
thank you, Miss Nadini, and so my pleasure.
Thank you very much once again. And thank you once again to the students as well who did a great job in their poster presentation. So with that, we will be winding up today's poster presentation. Thank you very much, everyone, for your time and efforts in making this event a success. Have a pleasant day.
You too. Bye.